Welcome everybody, my name is Samwise for D30 and well, this will be a ramble. I want to talk about a game I saw on YouTube. A game ran by none other than Samwise 7, Tim Harper. Did a game with his son. I haven't checked if it was available to the public on this channel. I happened to saw the game. If he wants to share the link of that game in the comments, he can do that. But yeah, I want to come back on this game, okay, and my reaction to it. And to tell you, start with, Tim, you're a great game master. You know, every time you may have doubted yourself, well, don't. This game showed how great of a game master you are. And you know, I saw some other games before on your channel. I think Lamentation of the Flame Princess or something with a science fiction setting called Wars. And every time I was really enjoying listening to those games. And this game shows it up once again. You're with your son and you're running a basic fantasy little adventure. And you did great. You did great with your kid. And really, I want to have your impression on another game. I'm calling that other game here because maybe some people don't know about it, but you did a library game with kids. You made some comments on Facebook, but I hope you make a video about this. Okay, I want you to share your experience in library because I'm still a firm fan of doing it in the library. Okay, this is the most neutral place you can get the most people in, and especially kids. And yeah, and you know, we need people like you, Tim, and others that might listen to this to pass up the flame to the younger generation. And the library is the best place, in my opinion. Is the best place, unless you already have a group at home of kids. But if you want to do it in public, library, right? Okay, well, my impression on the game, it was quite fun. Your son is a great player, by the way. You know, he has clever ideas. I've heard him come up with some creative stuff. Okay, he created some cool stuff and all the such. The way you structured your adventure was okay for the time span you spent on it. You know, it was 45 minutes game. You really kicked them into action in a way. You know, at the entrance of the dungeon. Okay, you kind of told him the context in which he was starting. It was the father of his characters. Told him about that lost place with treasures, and he told his son, go there. Okay, so you kind of railroad him in the entrance of the dungeon, but usually with kids that works well. Okay, if you are short on time, just put them in their hand the mission, and yeah, you did well. And the ending, you did great. Okay, the wrap up of your game was perfect. Okay, you did shortcut to the character going back to his father with his findings, his treasures. So yeah, you have to, when you are short on time, well, especially conventions. In my case, you know, I can see myself doing it this way since when I ran, for example, Hero Kids, I have 1 hour. So often at the end I have to shortcut, you know, bring them to the right place at the right moment just to finish up the stuff. Or if I know that there will be another adventure, well, try to make up that big cliffhanger, okay, to have them want to come back, you know, next time. So you did well to that place. Your descriptions are clear, Tim. You made great descriptions, great depiction of the NPCs. Your scenes are well described. That it was perfect. Maybe a small piece of advice, you know, that I could give you. You can go through all the descriptions you've made, but maybe just pace it to leave leave some space for the players, okay? For them to jump into your description at the right time, because yeah, you kind of put forward all the information you needed to put forward, and it was okay because you know you couldn't make it otherwise. Okay, you have to give all the information, but sometimes you can give a part of the information, stop, and if after 2 seconds no one is saying something, well, you can continue on, and it will just give the players the chance to jump into the description and, you know, take part of what you are offering. Of course, you were with one kid, your own son. If maybe it was different when you were with many other kids, that's why I want your impression on your other game. But you know what? You know, if the kids feel involved, if you were able to hook them enough to get into the game, well, they will talk anyway. They will interrupt you and they will talk and they will jump to this description. So don't worry with that. I think, by the way, you did great. So yeah, I'm congratulating you about this game, and we need more of these. So yeah, well, when you did your library thing that I'm waiting for that video, you asked before some advice, and I came to give you some advice. I never thought I would have given you such a long list. I thought that I would give you 1 or 2 things, but when I began to write, you know, it kind of came up all in my head, all the advice I could give to someone. Well, sharing my experience, maybe it's not the most perfect way to make this stuff, but you know, it works for me. So this is me sharing my experience. So I will come up with a more edited video of my advice. I did some in the past, but more in the ramble format. But I want to make a more complete video, okay, on my advices and open up the subject for people to share their own experience and tips. So yeah, you inspired me with that. I will make, I don't know when, but I will make a complete video of my tips to run RPGs with kids. And I will also inspire myself by other tips I will search by this time, okay, because there are many tips. But yeah, what can I say? You know, you ran the game with your son. Yeah, I may talk a little about my own kids, by the way. My 3 kids are really into role-playing games since they were born. My oldest son, you know, as far as he can remember, he remembered myself on every Friday. Well, every 2 Friday nights, having a group coming home and playing role-playing games. Sorry. So he was very interested by that as a young age. Let me talk to you about my daughter, the youngest one. She's 6 years old now. She's about to be 7 in a month. And yeah, this is the case for her. You know, since she was born, she was into role-playing game in a sense. Okay, I was running game with her in my arm. I even bought her some big dices when she was able to grab objects and throw them all around. So she saw me run the game a lot. So role-playing game in her life is something normal, you know, and that's something her parents are doing. So it's part of her life. She's a big fan of Hero Kids. She's always looking forward for next time, and I should try to make a more regular group for her. But well, we have on our Friday night games, when there's the right amount of kids, because the other players are bringing their kids, but it's not always the case. But when they are there and we're not too late in the evening, I can make a small 45-minute session of Hero Kids with them, and they enjoy that. But it's not enough for my daughter, so I bring her with me in my library activities. Yes, by the way, I work in a library, for those who don't know. And part of my job is to take, I am in charge of the So I've put role-playing games activities through that. I have currently 2 types of groups. I have a 5 to 8 years old group running with Hero Kids, and I have a 9 to 12, well, more 14-year-old group running with a French role-playing game called the Tranchons et Dracons. And I usually run games during school breaks. You know, when they have a 1-day break in the week, once in a month, let's say, I do schedule games there, and people come and subscribe to the games and all that stuff. Yeah. What can I say? So I bring my daughter to the library to run games with her, and she's a very good player. In fact, you know, she really digs Hero Kids. She really understands the game system. She understands her character. She has good ID. She participates well. Yeah. So she will be a great role player in her life, I guess. Let's go with my oldest son. He's about to be 12 by the making of this video, by this weekend. Yeah, like I said, you know, he was into it as far as he can remember. He got through Hero Kids, and as he was growing older, he wanted to have, of course, more crunch into his role-playing game. So I brought him into the library too with the older groups, trying different games, but mostly the Tranchons et Dracons game I told you about. I brought him in conventions. He tried different games there, D&D, the Star Wars D6. He tried a couple of other games, so he had some sort of experience. Last Christmas, I bought him a role-playing box, which was an awesome. This is an awesome box. I think it could replace the infamous red box from D&D. This is a French role-playing game, by the way, called D30. In that box, you know, you have everything you need to introduce yourself in role-playing games, and this is kids-oriented, more 10-year-old and more kids, you know, but that box is awesome. You have the game system, which is very easy, very neat. The dices that come, because these are special dices you use in the game, the game master screen, and you have 10 scenarios, all coming with their pre-gens, and all the 10 scenarios are in different settings, so you can try many different settings. There's a Star Wars types of settings, fantasy, Cthulhu type, kung fu, pirate, okay, name it, 10 different scenarios. This is an awesome, and the scenarios are very well written. The modules are well written and can be played within an hour. Usually we take a little more than an hour to complete them, but yeah. And this year he ran some games for us, trying out different scenarios with his friends too. Last summer he asked me for a crunchier game. You know, he was ready. Hey, I want a game with a list of weapons. And okay, he was specific about his demand. Because games like Tranchons et Dracons doesn't have a list of weapons. This is a mostly narrative type of game where what kind of weapon you have in your hand doesn't matter that much. It's more like, what can I say? It's more like, you know, you make a good description of what you have in your hand, and you'll get what you have. Well, something like that. So he wanted the list of weapons. I looked at what I've already got in my collection. And you know, last year and this year was really into Savage Worlds. Okay, I really discovered that game. I really enjoy that game, and I have the English and the French version of the game in my possession. So I handed him the French version of the book and said to him, "Well, learn this one." And you know, he really took it seriously. You know, he was studying the game. He was asking me questions. He had the occasion to try it maybe 1 or 2 times with me to see how the games was working. And you know, he's 11 years old. He digs Savage Worlds. He began to run some games for his friends. Yeah, 11 years old. He has experience in role-playing games, and none of it is D&D, really. Oh yeah, in a convention, but nevertheless, doesn't always have to be D&D the first game, okay? So Savage Worlds. So maybe later in his life he will come up with D&D and discover that, and and decide that it's the best game he ever tried in his life, and that will be good. But at least he would have tried something else before. Yeah. So Savage Worlds is in his life. Let's talk about my third kid. He's 9-year-old. I think role-playing game will bring a lot in his life. He has issues with communication in general. Okay, he has difficulty. When you talk to him, you know, he kind of divert into any subject except the one we're talking about. He has a hard time having a focus on what he's trying to express, and it can be long to talk with him. So this is a problem where we are working with him to try to more get his ideas together and focus, okay, on what he wants to say. And role-playing games, I think, is a good way to do that. To start with, yeah, he got through Hero Kids, Tranchon et Tracon at the library, and you know, I have to play the policeman when I'm the game master with him, just to stop him. Okay, he has to learn when he can talk and when he has to leave space for the others, and try to focus, because sometimes he can divert in the game, and he's very creative when he's diverting, but it's not always the, how can I say it, the appropriate creation. It's not the appropriate creation we need. So it helps him focus. That is very good for him, and you know, he enjoys making role-playing games. Okay, and as a brotherly jealousy, brotherish jealousy, he saw his older brother running Savage Worlds, and he said, I want my own role-playing game. I want to run games. Okay, good. And I've bought something last summer, another French role-playing game. I bought a bunch of games, and one of them was, I was curious about a well-reviewed game, and they had the mini version, which is well suited for kids. The whole version is a whole role-playing game, but the mini version, I bought it just to see if it was well suited for kids. It's called Chronique Oubliée, the mini version. And when my son asked me to run games, I handed it the book and said, yeah, you could run this one. It's a very small, I think it's 16 pages, okay, with a, there's the rules, character creation, bestiary, and a module, okay, and you have some pre-gens in that. Okay, so he decided to run. I decided to read it with him, in fact, and he had lots of ideas. He ran to us the adventure that was in the book, and he's trying to create some more adventures. He's taking from other sources, non-RPG related sources, some folkloric legends and stuff like that, to create his own stuff. He's inspiring himself from those sources, and he's doing very well, as a game master. Well, without being the one telling the game master how to do his job, I'm a player in this game, and I just try to help him focus in what he wants to express. Okay, and often he has he's young, he's 9-year-old, so often he has the idea of the scenario he wants us to make. So he will describe every scene they had in his head with us in it, but we're doing nothing. And at some point, oh, stop, I want to do something. So he has to focus and structure his mind, and try to focus enough to just say what he has to say. So it's a great training for him. It's great for him to do role-playing games, and I'm very happy of that. I'm very proud of what he's doing, the effort he's doing, and I want to get back in his game. I want to get into his creative mind, and I want to help him get his creative mind into the service of a good game, a game that everyone will enjoy, everyone will feel involved in. So that is a great challenge, but my 3 kids are really into role-playing games. So I did want to share that with you today, guys. I will come back with more kids related role-playing games, as I said. But to end up with that, Tim Harper, you are a model, okay, as a game master. Yeah, so if anyone's watched this game, well, it was very enjoyable. And yeah, so that's all I had to say today. So my name is François Letarte for JDR D30, and up to next time, I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.